The elevator doors slid shut behind us, and suddenly the space felt impossibly small. Dominic's cologne filled the air between us, warm and intoxicating. I could feel the heat radiating from his body as he stepped closer, his fingers grazing mine as we both reached for the same button. "Looks like we're going to the same floor," he murmured, his voice low and rough. I glanced up at him, meeting those dark eyes that had been watching me all evening. "What are the odds?" I whispered back, my pulse quickening as his thumb traced across my knuckles. The elevator climbed slowly, each floor marking the growing tension between us. When it finally stopped, he didn't move away. Instead, his hand found the small of my back, guiding me toward my door with a certainty that made my breath catch. "Enjoyed the opening? Hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what caught your attention." I hadn't planned on this when I walked into that restaurant tonight. It was supposed to be a simple dinner, a chance to network with some of the company's investors. My boss had insisted I attend, saying it would be good for my career. What he hadn't mentioned was that his brother would be there. Dominic Castellano commanded attention the moment he walked in. Tall, broad-shouldered, with perfectly tailored clothes that hinted at the powerful build beneath. He moved through the restaurant like he owned it, which, knowing his family's wealth, he probably did. When our eyes met across the table, something electric passed between us. I tried to focus on the business conversation, but I found myself stealing glances at him throughout the evening. "Isabella, right?" His voice was smooth as aged whiskey when he finally spoke directly to me. "My brother's mentioned you, says you're brilliant at what you do." I felt heat rise to my cheeks. He's being generous. I doubt that. His eyes held mine, and I saw something there that made my stomach flutter. "Would you like to get some air? It's getting a bit stuffy in here." The restaurant's terrace overlooked the Cleveland skyline, city lights twinkling like stars. The October air was crisp, making me shiver slightly in my dress. Without hesitation, Dominic slipped off his jacket and draped it around my shoulders. The gesture was simple, but the way his hands lingered on my arms sent warmth spiraling through me. "Thank you," I breathed, inhaling the scent of his cologne that clung to the fabric. "Can't have you catching cold." His smile was soft, genuine, different from the confident businessman I'd observed inside. "Tell me something about yourself that's not in your professional bio." I laughed, surprised by the question. That's a dangerous request. I like danger. The way he said it, low and intimate, made my pulse race. "I paint," I said finally. "Terrible watercolors that would make art teachers everywhere weep, but it relaxes me. I'd like to see them sometime." The invitation hung in the air between us, loaded with possibility. "Would you really?" "Try me." "Try?" We talked for what felt like hours, the conversation flowing effortlessly from work to dreams to the kind of deep personal topics you usually only share with close friends. He told me about his travels, his passion for restoring classic cars, the way he'd built his investment firm from nothing. I found myself opening up in ways I hadn't expected, sharing stories about my childhood, my fears, my ambitions. "You're not what I expected," he said, his fingers playing with the ends of my hair. "What did you expect?" "Someone more corporate, buttoned up, but you're real, genuine." His thumb traced along my jawline, making me shiver. It's refreshing. When the dinner party began to wind down, I knew I should go back inside, should say goodnight, and head home like a responsible employee. Instead, I heard myself asking, "Would you like to see those terrible paintings?" His smile was slow, predatory. "Lead the way." The cab ride to my apartment was torture. We sat properly apart, maintaining professional distance, but the air between us crackled with unspoken desire. Every bump in the road seemed to push us slightly closer together. His hand rested on the seat between us, so close I could feel the heat from his skin. "This is me," I said as we pulled up to my building, my voice shakier than I'd intended. He paid the driver and followed me inside, his presence overwhelming in the small elevator. When I fumbled with my keys at the door, his hand covered mine, steadying me. The simple touch sent electricity shooting up my arm. My apartment was modest compared to what he was probably used to, but he didn't seem to notice. His eyes went straight to the paintings I'd mentioned. A collection of amateur landscapes hung on the living room wall. "These aren't terrible," he said, studying them with genuine interest. "They're peaceful. I can see why you enjoy it. You're just being nice." He turned to face me, and suddenly the space between us felt charged. "I don't say things I don't mean, Isabella." The way he said my name, with that slight accent that hinted at his Italian heritage, made my knees weak. I busied myself opening a bottle of wine, needing something to do with my hands, some way to calm the racing of my heart. "This is probably a bad idea," I said, pouring 2 glasses. "Probably." He moved closer, accepting the wine, but not stepping back. "Do you care?" I looked up at him, this man who was dangerous to my career, to my carefully ordered life, and realized I didn't care at all. "No," I whispered. The wine glass slipped from my fingers as he cupped my face, his lips finding mine in a kiss that was both gentle and demanding. I melted into him, my hands fisting in his shirt as months of professional restraint crumbled in an instant. His hands spanned my waist, pulling me closer until there was no space between us. I could feel the rapid beat of his heart, matching my own frantic rhythm. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rested against mine. "Tell me to stop," he said, his voice rough with desire. Instead, I reached for his tie, slowly working it loose. "Don't you dare," he growled, low in his throat, his hands tangling in my hair as he backed me toward the couch. We fell together in a tangle of eager hands and seeking mouths, the expensive fabric of our clothes creating a barrier that suddenly felt unbearable. His fingers found the zipper of my dress, drawing it down with agonizing slowness. The silk pooled around my feet, leaving me in nothing but black lace that made his eyes darken with hunger. I worked the buttons of his shirt, revealing the muscled chest I'd only imagined beneath his perfectly tailored clothes. "You're beautiful," he breathed against my neck, his lips trailing fire along my skin. I arched beneath him, my body responding to every touch, every caress. When his mouth found the sensitive spot where my neck met my shoulder, I gasped, my nails digging into his back. He lifted me easily, carrying me to the bedroom like I weighed nothing. The moonlight streaming through the windows cast everything in silver, making the moment feel dreamlike, surreal. He laid me down gently, his eyes drinking in every inch of my skin. "Are you sure about this?" In answer, I pulled him down to me, claiming his mouth in a kiss that left no doubt about my intentions. He responded with a passion that took my breath away, his hands exploring every curve, every sensitive spot, learning my body like he was memorizing it. When he settled between my thighs, the anticipation was almost unbearable. He moved slowly at first, letting me adjust, his eyes never leaving mine. The connection was intense, overwhelming, like nothing I'd ever experienced. "Move with me," he whispered, his voice strained with control. I followed his rhythm, our bodies, finding perfect sync as if we'd been made for this moment. Every thrust sent waves of pleasure through me, building higher and higher until I thought I might shatter from the intensity. His pace quickened, and I matched him, my legs wrapping around his waist to draw him deeper. The room filled with the sounds of our breathing, soft gasps, and murmured words of encouragement. "Don't stop," I pleaded, feeling myself approaching the edge. "Never," he promised, his lips finding mine as the tension coiled tighter and tighter. When the release finally came, it crashed over me in waves, my body arching beneath his as I cried out his name. He followed seconds later, his own climax shuddering through him as he buried his face in my neck. We lay tangled together afterward, our breathing slowly returning to normal. His fingers traced lazy patterns on my bare shoulder, and I could feel his smile against my hair. "That was," I began, then trailed off, unable to find adequate words. "Perfect," he finished for me, pressing a kiss to my temple. But as the afterglow faded, reality began to creep in. What had we just done? He was my boss's brother, a powerful man in the business world I was trying to navigate. This could complicate everything. "I can see you thinking," he said softly. "What's wrong?" I turned in his arms, meeting his concerned gaze. "This is complicated, Dominic. Your brother is my boss. If he finds out, he won't find out unless we tell him." His thumb traced my cheekbone. "This is between us, Isabella. No one else. But what if—" He silenced me with a gentle kiss. "What if we don't worry about tomorrow tonight? What if we just be here, in this moment?" His words were seductive, and I found myself nodding despite my concerns. When he reached for me again, his touch banishing all thoughts of consequences, I let myself fall back into the sweet oblivion of his embrace. The second time was slower, more deliberate. He took his time exploring every inch of my body, his mouth and hands worshiping me until I was trembling with need. When he finally joined with me again, it was with a tenderness that made my chest tight with emotion. We moved together like lovers who had known each other for years, not hours. He seemed to anticipate my every need, adjusting his angle when I gasped, slowing when I needed a moment, quickening when I urged him on. "Look at me," he commanded softly when I closed my eyes, lost in sensation. I obeyed, meeting his intense gaze as he moved within me. The intimacy of it was almost too much, this connection that went beyond the physical. I felt exposed, vulnerable, but also cherished in a way I'd never experienced. When the pleasure peaked again, it was with his name on my lips and his eyes locked on mine, a moment of perfect unity that left us both breathless and spent. Dawn was creeping through the windows when I woke, Dominic's arm still wrapped around my waist. For a moment, I let myself enjoy the warmth of his body against mine, the steady rhythm of his breathing. Then the full weight of what we'd done crashed over me. I slipped from the bed carefully, not wanting to wake him, and padded to the kitchen to make coffee. My reflection in the chrome surface of the refrigerator showed tousled hair and kiss-swollen lips, evidence of our passionate night written across my face. Morning. His voice was rough with sleep as he appeared in the doorway, wearing only his boxers. Morning, I replied, suddenly shy despite our intimacy. Coffee, please. He moved behind me, his arms encircling my waist. Any regrets? I leaned back against his chest, feeling the solid warmth of him. Ask me in a week when I'm sitting in a meeting with your brother. He chuckled, the sound vibrating through me. Fair enough. We drank our coffee in comfortable silence, but I could feel the weight of unspoken questions hanging between us. What happened now? Was this a one-night stand or something more? How would we navigate the complicated web of our professional lives? I should go, he said finally, though he made no move to leave. Probably, I agreed, not wanting him to but knowing he was right. He dressed slowly, and I watched from the bed, memorizing the way the morning light played across his skin. When he was fully clothed again, he looked like the powerful businessman from the restaurant, but I now knew the passionate man beneath the suits. At the door, he cupped my face in his hands, kissing me deeply. This isn't over, Isabella. Not if you don't want it to be. I don't know what I want, I admitted honestly. Then think about it, he said, his thumb tracing my bottom lip. But while you're thinking, remember this. He kissed me again, softer this time, full of promise and possibility. Then he was gone, leaving me standing in my doorway in nothing but his shirt, my body still humming from his touch. The next few days at work were torture. Every time my boss mentioned his brother, I felt heat flood my cheeks. When a company-wide email mentioned Dominic's investment firm partnering with us on a new project, my heart nearly stopped. You'll be working closely with Castellano Industries on this, my boss informed me during our weekly meeting. My brother specifically requested you for the project team. I tried to keep my expression neutral, but inside I was panicking. That's unexpected. He was impressed with you at dinner. Said you had exactly the kind of innovative thinking this project needs. Heat crept up my neck. If only he knew exactly how impressed his brother had been. That afternoon, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Dinner tonight? We have business to discuss. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for several minutes before I finally typed back. What kind of business? The kind best discussed over wine and candlelight. Despite everything, I found myself smiling. He was dangerous, this man who could make me forget every rule I'd set for myself. But as I thought about the way he'd made me feel, the connection we'd shared, I realized I was willing to take the risk. 7 o'clock, I texted back. Your place this time. His response was immediate. Can't wait. As I sat in my office, staring at the city skyline, I wondered what I was getting myself into. Dating my boss's brother was career suicide, a complication I definitely didn't need. But when I closed my eyes, I could still feel Dominic's hands. On my skin, could still taste his kiss. Maybe some risks were worth taking. That evening, standing outside his penthouse apartment, I took a deep breath and knocked. When he opened the door, looking devastatingly handsome in dark jeans and a white button-down, I knew there was no turning back. You came, he said, his smile warm and relieved. Against my better judgment, I replied, stepping into his arms. The best decisions usually are. Some nights change everything, don't they? When desire collides with good sense, which one wins? If you were in Isabella's position, would you have taken the risk or walked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Before you go, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the heat. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.